What is up, guys? It's your boy, Raiding Rick Kakis, and today we gotta talk about the Master Vow of the Disciple raid. It just went live today at the weekly reset, and this was supposed to be the big day for all of those D2 raiders and grinders. This is the absolute upper echelon of pinnacle endgame content, and quite frankly, it matters to everyone because even if you're a more casual player, if you're playing the game a reasonable amount, perhaps by the end of the season, you could get up to a high enough level and have a good enough build that you're thinking, hey, maybe I could take on this challenge. However, a ton of questionable decisions by Bungie were made, and it's gotten to the point where I'm actually questioning, is it worth even doing a Master Vow at all? Like, this activity, this new pinnacle endgame content might be completely worthless. Now, why is that? Well, let's talk about it. Firstly, what the heck is going on for the Master mode for those who may not know? Well, as of today, as you can see, if you go over the Vow of the Disciple, you can change the difficulty. Master is going to require 1580 light, but importantly, unlike a Grandmaster that requires 1575, but then there's a modifier that puts you lower than that. So you're treated like you're 2025 under level all the time. With Master, that's not the case. If you do get to 1580 or above, you will be at parity with the enemies, so they actually hit a lot less hard and are easier to kill than Grandmaster enemies, for example. So that's something important. But in addition to that, there's extra modifiers added. As you can see, match game is present. More enemies are going to be champions. A good example is during the boss fight, the Glyph Keepers that spawn are now going to be an Unstoppable and an Overload champion, so you will have to adjust your loadouts to accommodate that. And also, there's some different rewards. The reward system is a little bit weird. You'll see right here, there's mobility-focused armor, and that means all of the armor you get will have an added chunk of mobility. So, I beat this on my Hunter the first time because that's where I wanted my mobility armor to go, and hey, I got a 68 stat, pretty darn good helmet right here, so that's great, right? But what about weapons? Well, this is a little tricky. You are going to get armor every single time for every single encounter except for the additional challenge chest. So right now it's the first encounter challenge where you have to wait and shoot all of the unstoppable champions at the same time. And as you can see from this additional chest, I got an Adept fusion rifle. Now, importantly, unlike Master Vault of Glass, where the different challenge modes would drop different weaponry. So like if it was the second encounter challenge, right, you would, have a chance to get a Fatebringer. It'd be Fatebringer and, one other weapon would always be dropping from that encounter every single time it was challenged. So certain weeks when those encounters were featured as challenges, like that's the time everyone would go in and play. This time it's different. Now, your Adept weapon drop can just be any random weapon. I think one of us got a Glaive, which drops normally from the very last encounter from this additional chest. So you don't have to wait for certain weeks anymore, but it also means it's much harder to farm for Adept weapons because you can't target farm them. It's literally going to give you a random weapon. Now, what's going on with these weapons? Well, as you can see from my fusion rifle, there's going to be some differences between this and just a normal raid fusion. So I think first and foremost, you can see there's an entire extra row of perks. I've got Perpetual Motion plus Surrounded on top, and then Sleight of Hand and Chill Clip on the bottom. Now, in case you're wondering, oh, are the bottom perks preset and they're always the same like in Master Vault of Glass? No. I had another teammate who got another fusion rifle just like me, and they had Sleight of Hand and then something else like Demolition, something other than Chill Clip. So it seems like you just essentially get 4 perks instead of 2, which is certainly going to make things easier to farm. But as you can see, and I'm sure some of you have already kind of said this, yeah, there's no enhanced perks. None of us got any of our weapons with a single enhanced perk. And I haven't seen anyone out there post anything about getting one. So either the drop rate is so astronomically low, they might as well not spawn at all, but more likely, you cannot get enhanced perks on these adept weapons. And this was the huge question that everyone had going into the master difficulty, because the normal craftable versions can obviously get enhanced perks. So why would I go after these adept weapons that are getting literally, unarguably worse perks? Like, why would I want subsistence for my adept version when I can craft one with enhanced subsistence? And you may be saying, well, the enhanced perks aren't that much better. No, they're not right now, but Bungie has already said they're actually looking at buffing some of them because they have received a lot of complaints that they're underpowered. And still, this kind of means that the only difference between the adept weapons and the normal weapons in terms of power is, firstly, when I masterwork the adept weapons, you get a little +3 stat boost to like range, stability, handling, and reload speed, but also I can use adept mods. Now, if you're a PvP player, stuff like Adept Icarus and even just, Adept Range, Adept Stability, all of that stuff may be a little bit more valuable to you, but those are still pretty minor bonuses, and I think a lot of PvP players would even say, yeah, I'd rather just have the enhanced perks. But especially for myself and other PvE players, really the only PvE adept mod is enhanced big one spec, which is major spec and boss spec combined into one. Now that's great, but I think even still, I would much rather have enhanced perks. So Bungie has essentially created a situation where the harder version of content is dropping worse loot. Like, it blows my mind, especially because, again, you're only getting that one weapon. The rest of your drops will be armor, but there's so many ways to get high stat armor. I would much rather do, other things. Heck, I would much rather just wait for Xur to show up than to do a master raid. And not only that, guys, but at the end, as you can see, if you get all the way to the end, you can actually buy the adept versions with spoils. They're more expensive, but you can, so I guess it makes it a little bit better for farming. But if you get a red border version of an adept weapon, this is the cherry on top, it doesn't even count towards your pattern progress. I had a teammate that got a red border deep sight adept SMG. He completed it, handed it in, and his pattern went from 3 out of 5 to 3 out of 5. Like, it didn't change. So even if you go and get the red border, it doesn't even progress you. Like, why? Bit of an update here. As I was editing, a community manager replied to my tweet saying that this was a glitch, and in the future it will be fixed so that if you do get a red bordered version, it will count towards your pattern. So if you do get one, guys, don't complete them, save them until whenever this fix comes at an undisclosed date. And so those are my thoughts on the Master Difficulty Vow of the Disciple. I just don't feel like it's worth doing. Other than maybe one time to get the triumph, I don't see myself farming this whatsoever. And I know like one person's gonna be in the comments like, actually for this weapon you want the adept mod instead of the enhanced perks. Like, bro, if you've got to write a 16-paragraph response as to why maybe the adept version and its one mod is better than the version with 2 enhanced perks, like, they're too close, right? It should be very obviously better for doing the harder content, just like Vault of Glass. So here, not only is it not better, it's either like at parity or, as I've said, in many cases, outright worse than the loot you're getting on the normal version. Because again, like I said, even if you luck out and get a red bordered one, it doesn't even count. You're much more worth it to just farm the normal version. So big disappointment. I think Bungie is going to have to go in and adjust these drops, make them randomly spawn with enhanced perks. You're still going to have to luck out and farm them and get a god roll. I don't see anything wrong with then you get a god roll with enhanced perks and you get 1 extra mod. I think that would be the incentive to keep going. Or another idea, what if the armor was Artifice? That would change. I would live in Master Vow if it dropped Artifice armor. But it doesn't. It drops completely normal armor that's basically identical to the normal version. You just get better stats more often if you can target farm them. So That's the situation going on with the pinnacle endgame of Destiny 2. Not even worth doing. Guys, that is it for the video. Hope you enjoyed and found this interesting. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.